If you've been thinking about checking out the Jurassic World Exhibition that's going on right now in Denver and happens in cities all around the world throughout the year, in this video, I'll let you know what to expect and let you know if it was worth the money. If you're new to my channel, I'm Dave and I help locals and visitors find places to eat and things to do in and around Denver, and thanks for checking out this video. And I know that there are a bunch of 20-minute videos on Jurassic World on YouTube that show you almost nothing. They're basically just walking around with their cell phone the whole time. So let's just get right into this video so I can show you what to expect. Right from the start, one of the things that I was really impressed about the Jurassic World exhibition was just how high the production value is. This thing is not cheap. You probably already know that. It was around $90 for my wife and I to go, along with our 2-year-old son who's free. So after taxes, fees, and all that kind of stuff, it's about $90 for something that was about 45 minutes from start to finish. I actually thought it could be longer, but 45 minutes is probably around the sweet spot for something like this, and I'll get a little bit more into that later in the video. So the space is just all Jurassic Worlded out from top to bottom, and all of the people working are really in character. They're kind of like your tour guides for Jurassic Park, and also the handlers for some of the baby dinosaurs that you'll meet along the way, along with the velociraptors. They're all like really in character, and that makes it feel like a cooler experience instead of just like a random thing where you're walking around seeing dinosaurs. Like, you might as well just go to the museum if you're going to do that. So as the rough storyline goes, you basically get into this boat and it shows you a video telling you about Jurassic World and about the dinosaurs that you're going to see. And it kind of feels like a boat because when you look to the left and the right, you see some water, and it kind of simulates that you're on a boat heading out to the island where you're going to meet all of these dinosaurs. And that kind of sets the scene for what this experience is going to be. It's actually fairly linear because you are going to ride this boat with your group of people, and you're pretty much going to be with that group of people for the entire time. You're not just like walking through like the Denver Aquarium where you can kind of go at your own pace. There are various rooms with doors, and the tour guides will open the doors, you know, when it's time to go to the next place. And that's just how it works. So you're not going to be just randomly exploring on your own. And I think that that's actually a good thing. It makes it feel like you're almost on like a Disneyland ride, except that you're walking. And from the second that you really enter Jurassic World, you're going to be pretty impressed at just the scale of this whole thing. The dinosaurs are really big. They look very realistic. The way that they're moving, it looks very natural, actually, even when they're biting and chewing. And they're not just like going like this, some weird animatronic small world type of thing. Like, they're moving very realistically with a bunch of different types of movements that makes it not get old and boring. Like, your kids might not even notice that they're moving on a loop because the loops are so long. And I think that every kid had a smile on their face the second that they walked in. And one of the things that I wasn't sure about was, would this experience be scary for our son? Our son is only 2 years old, but he really, really loves dinosaurs. He loves animated dinosaurs, cartoon dinosaurs, realistic looking dinosaurs. He has like plastic dinosaurs that don't look very friendly at all, but he loves all of them. So that gave us a good hint that he was going to like these realistic looking dinosaurs. And they do a good job of kind of warming you up to the more scary parts of it. There was a bunch of kids that were in elementary school in our group, all second grade and below. I think that they all had a great time. The preschoolers, kindergartners, they all seemed like they were doing fine, but they do a good job with just pacing it out so that it's not all super scary. There are some nice breaks along the way. And this is the point in the video where I ask you to give it a like if you're enjoying learning about Jurassic World. I'm a local YouTuber, and those likes really help a lot with getting this video seen by more people. So if you could do it, I'd really appreciate it. Now back to the video. So in addition to the really big dinosaurs, there are also opportunities for kids to meet these smaller dinosaurs that are being handled by these like puppeteer type people who are working the event, and it's like not hokey at all. It's actually like really, really cool. The dinosaurs move very realistically. They blink. Obviously, the puppeteer is doing a really good job, but it's nice because the workers will come up to the kids who might be being a little bit more shy, like our son was being a little shy with these puppets, and, you know, they'll have the baby dinosaurs nuzzle up against them, and they'll have the kids kind of gently pet them with the backs of their hands, and it really is kind of like the kids are going to a zoo. They're just meeting dinosaurs, and It's very innocent. That part I really enjoyed a lot and was not something that I expected to see. I thought it was all going to be like big Tyrannosaurus Rexes and crazy Brontosauruses. Like, these baby parts are actually like pretty cool for kids to be able to interact with the dinosaurs and really see and touch them. And I talked about pacing a little bit already, but like, for example, you'll be going from a room with a dinosaur that looks kind of scary, that might be coming out of a big metal box, and then you'll walk into a lab where it's very quiet. You're seeing a bunch of baby dinosaurs that are being hatched, playing with some iPad looking things that ultimately let kids really just see what's on the inside of eggs. I mean, in quotation marks, because they're not really seeing it. And there's a bunch of screens on the walls where kids can look at DNA. It's a nice break, right? So it's not just like dinosaur, 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 getting exhausting and scary. And if your kid needs a break because they got a little bit freaked out, there are those moments so that they're not like sitting in darkness the entire time. And one of the things that I really liked about the parts like this was just how in character all of the people who are working the event are. They are acting like scientists. You know, they'll answer questions for kids. They will explain what to look for when they're looking at the baby dinosaurs in the incubators. And I think that that really makes it cool, makes it feel very magical for the kids. It almost really feels like they're meeting real dinosaurs. So if your kid loves dinosaurs like ours does, I think that this could be a really cool experience for them. Okay, and so once you get into some of the bigger dinosaur exhibits, these are the parts that I was a little bit nervous about as a parent, because it's like, you know, it's going to be loud. You know, the dinosaurs are going to be huge. Our son actually did fine with it. And again, he's 2, but we were kind of making light of the whole thing for him, telling him to say hi to the dinosaurs and, you know, making it kind of a more happy experience instead of a intense, scary experience and running, screaming, and freaking him out. I think that we did a good job of just making it seem like, oh, this is interesting. You're getting to see a dinosaur. And they do look very realistic. They're very big, and kids ooh and ah when they see them come out. Some will scream a little bit. Others will be waving and screaming, dinosaur! And they'll be really, really happy. So I think that it's just really neat to see how realistic these things move. As a parent, you know, I was definitely going there for my son, but I enjoyed it as well. I just enjoyed seeing the scale of these things and just the attention to detail. It really feels like the building got transformed for Jurassic World. And it's all of those little details with the dinosaurs that I think that adults will find really interesting. There's a room with velociraptors that are kind of coming out of the walls, and you'll just see their lips kind of moving, they're blinking, just like the little details on their skin is pretty cool to see. And then ultimately you end up seeing the velociraptor being handled by someone who's supposed to be like a velociraptor trainer, you know, like the movies. And they get to see a live velociraptor running around in a cage. And I think a lot of kids thought that this was really a highlight. It's not super scary because the velociraptor is kind of just walking around. It chomps, it moves in cool ways, but it's not a very loud or scary part. I think that a lot of kids really enjoyed this. One thing I wanted to touch on was the types of kids that I think might have a tougher time with this exhibition. So if your kids are really, really scared of the dark, a lot of the larger rooms are pretty dark. There are spotlights and stuff, but they will be standing in the dark for a good amount of time. Next, it does get pretty loud in there, especially with some of the louder dinosaurs like the T-Rex, which I will show you in a second. That part does get pretty loud. There are also a lot of flashing lights. There are kind of these alarm lights that are going off the whole time. And if your kids have any sensitivities to any of those kinds of things, it might not be right for them. All the kids that we were grouped with seemed to do okay. A couple got a little bit scared. Our son got a little bit scared during the T-Rex portion for sure. But just keep that stuff in mind. It's a kid-friendly event, but just know that if your kids like dinosaurs and they don't mind being in the dark, as long as you're there with them, that's going to help a lot. And definitely one of the biggest parts of this whole thing is the T-Rex. You end up going into a room and a T-Rex has kind of gotten loose in Jurassic World, and he makes his appearance, and it is big and it looks very realistic. Teeth are huge. Gets pretty close to you. You know, you're behind a fence, and obviously it's well under control. You don't certainly think that this thing is going to attack you, but this was the part where our son got a little bit scared because it was pretty loud. This is the loudest part of the whole exhibition, and it looks very realistic. I mean, as an adult, you're just gonna kind of have a blast seeing this thing moving in front of you because it does look very real. And the part that makes it even better is that the actors really play it up, right? They tell a good story of how the Tyrannosaurus got loose. They move you throughout the area, and I think that that makes it really fun. It does feel like you're part of a story. You know, you're kind of making your way through the park, and I really enjoyed that narrative part of the experience. I thought that it was going to feel like we were walking through a museum, maybe feel a little bit stupid, and the animals were just going to like move like this, or dinosaurs, but it really did feel like we were just walking through a really entertaining Disneyland ride with a small group of people that were all being tended to by the people who worked there. Now, was Jurassic World worth it? Like I said, it was not cheap. It was around $90 just to buy 2 adult tickets with all the taxes, fees, and that stuff, and our son went for free. And then we obviously got killed at the gift shop because we got him this little Velociraptor stuffed animal that was $30. So it was $120 for about 45 minutes. Those 45 minutes were really packed. I do think our son thinks that he saw dinosaurs today. And for me, that makes it worth it because I think that that's pretty cool. But it's not cheap, and it's not going to be a full day's worth of activities. Another thing that I think about those 45 minutes is that while I do think this could have stretched to maybe an hour, I think that it would have gotten exhausting for a lot of kids and adults too after all that time with all that like T-Rex roaring and other dinosaur sounds and stuff. There's only so much of that you could take. You could maybe do that for 90 minutes. So I don't think that it's ridiculous that this thing is less than an hour. I actually think that it's fairly well timed. I could have maybe used another room or two with some docile dinosaurs that were just chewing on lettuce or something like that, but I do think it doesn't feel like a total ripoff. I mean, the Dr. Seuss experience feels like a ripoff. This does not feel like a ripoff because it's so branded from top to bottom. The plants, the dinosaurs, the handlers, the story, the screens that are showing you different information. This is like a really cool, different trip to a natural history museum. It does cost more though. So I hope that you enjoyed this look into Jurassic World, the exhibition. You know, this is what it looks like in Denver. I don't know if it looks different in other cities, but it'll probably be fairly similar to whatever city you're in if you're thinking about checking this out. We really had a good time. It was expensive, but at the same time, even I as an adult enjoyed it, even though it was fairly quick. The dinosaurs just look so realistic. I really appreciated the production and the amount of care that was paid by all of the staff that was there as well. I think that that made it feel like it was pretty much worth the money. Of course, if you enjoyed seeing what Jurassic World is like, please give this video a like or share with that friend or person who you're thinking about taking to this exhibit. Maybe even show it to your kids with the sound off so they don't hear all the parts where I may be indicating that the dinosaurs aren't real, but really appreciate those likes and shares. Thanks so much for checking out this video on Jurassic World, and I hope that you get to check it out when it comes to your city.